Northrop Grumman wins $325 million to develop drone that monitors hypersonic tests. The U.S. Army has awarded Northrop Grumman a $3,255 million contract to develop a high-altitude long-endurance drone specifically designed to collect test data from high-speed weapons systems, filling a capability gap that has slowed the Pentagon's ability to evaluate hypersonic and other advanced high-speed programs at the pace that competition with China and Russia demands. The contract awarded to Northrop Grumman Systems Corp. In San Diego, California covers development of a system called RangeHawk, described in the Army's contract announcement as a universal payload architecture prototype serving as a high-altitude, long-endurance airborne test resource. The program's stated purpose is to improve the agility and adaptability of high-speed systems test data collection covering prototype development, air vehicle modification, sensor integration, and logistics preparation for demonstration and validation. Army Contracting Command in Orlando, Florida, issued the Cost Plus Fixed Fee Award, with work expected to complete by May 14, 2031. Fiscal year 2026 research development test and evaluation funds of $656 million were obligated at the time of award, with the remainder to be drawn down as the program progresses. Northrop Grumman, one of America's largest defense contractors and the manufacturer of the B-21 Raider stealth bomber and the RQ-4 Global Hawk high-altitude surveillance drone, brings direct relevant experience to RangeHawk through its long history with HALE platforms. The RQ-4 Global Hawk, which operates at altitudes above 60,000 feet and can remain airborne for more than 30 hours, established Northrop as the leading American developer of long-endurance, high-altitude unmanned aircraft, and the RangeHawk program appears to draw on that institutional knowledge while applying it to a test and evaluation mission rather than operational surveillance. The distinction between a surveillance drone and a test range support drone matters more than it might initially appear. Collecting data from hypersonic and other high-speed systems during test flights requires sensors that can keep pace with the target vehicle across its full flight envelope, including at altitudes and speeds that ground-based radars and tracking systems struggle to cover comprehensively. A high-altitude airborne platform carrying a flexible payload architecture can position itself along a test corridor, maintain coverage through portions of a flight that ground stations miss, and collect sensor data types that cannot be gathered from the ground at all, including close-range optical infrared and electronic signature measurements that provide testers with information about how a system actually performs rather than simply where it went. The universal payload architecture description in the contract language is significant. Rather than designing RangeHawk to carry a fixed sensor suite optimized for a single test program, the Army appears to be investing in a platform flexible enough to accept different payloads for different test requirements, making it a reusable range asset rather than a purpose-built tool for one program. That approach reflects hard lessons from decades of range instrumentation procurement, where sensors bought for specific programs became obsolete as those programs ended, leaving the test infrastructure poorly suited for the next generation of systems that needed evaluation. The hypersonic weapons context is impossible to separate from this program, even though the contract language uses the broader phrase, high-speed systems. Rather than explicitly naming hypersonic weapons, the U.S. military has been racing to develop hypersonic missiles and glide vehicles capable of traveling at Mach 5 and above, driven by Chinese and Russian advances. In the same domain, China has demonstrated the DF-17 hypersonic glide vehicle and the DF-CF boost glide system, while Russia has deployed the Kinzhal air-launched hypersonic missile and the Avangard hypersonic glide vehicle. American hypersonic programs have faced repeated test failures and schedule delays, problems that have been attributed in part to the limitations of existing test range infrastructure and the difficulty of collecting comprehensive data from vehicles that travel so fast they quickly outrun conventional tracking systems. The Army's role as the contracting authority for a program that appears to serve broader Department of War test needs reflects the service's responsibility for managing certain range and test infrastructure programs on behalf of the Joint Force, a function that does not always map neatly onto the Army's conventional ground combat mission but has deep institutional roots in the service's historical management of missile and rocket test programs. The Army Test and Evaluation Command and its associated ranges have supported joint and national-level test programs for decades, and RangeHawk appears to extend that support function into a new capability domain.